Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co host, Julietta, also known as the Magical PT, coming to you live from sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And here I have my own physical therapy practice where the reason I went out on my own is because I just look at the body differently than many of my colleagues, and it just became very difficult to work with other people. So I got to do my own thing. But I look at the body very holistically and not just looking at the physical body, but looking at, our emotions and our spirit as well, and how that plays a role in our body. And besides that, I'm a podcaster here. I also make jewelry and gemstone art, and I paint, and I'm an author and a cat mom, and I don't know, other things too. But enough about that. Tell us, Allison, who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Allison Mancini, and I am a mom to two adult kids, 25 and 22 years of age. I am a wife to a pretty great guy for a long time, almost 30 years. We've actually been together over 30 years. That's a little interesting. And I am Human Resources and Operations Director at the Gold Digger Girl. I'm also a functional nutritionist. And at the Gold Digger Girl, basically what we do is help women to show up authentically on social media. And I am really blessed because I get to tie a couple of things that I really love, which is working with people and nutrition. So part of my job as Human Resources Director at the Gold Digger Girl is helping them out with nutrition. And it's kind of my call it a hobby, but it's really not, because I really am such a big believer in how important your nutrition and what you eat is to your well-being, because that's what fuels our bodies. That's what keeps everything ticking. So and I'm a dog mom. I have two very active German short hair pointers, a 15-month-old and a 14-week-old. So that's a lot, kind of a handful. And I live in South Florida, not far from Julietta, originally a Michigander. And I think that pretty much covers it. That's pretty much all of it.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, our sponsor this month is Bowtie Kids, Courage and Confidence for Kids with Chronic Pain. And they are an amazing, impact-driven, for-purpose organization committed to enhancing the lives of youth suffering from chronic pain and their families. Its mission is to inspire courage and confidence in youth living with chronic pain and their families by transforming lives through personal development, community building, and gardening to build a sustainable quality of life. On May 26th, you can join them for their Courage and Confidence Awards to celebrate and honor community leaders who have been courageous and confident in taking on their own lives to serve and support others. You can purchase tickets, bid on silent auction items, enter the raffle, or donate to support their work directly on their website at www.bowtiekids.org. I will be attending the event, so if anybody out there would like to join me, I would love to see you there. A little secret, my significant other will be attending as well. So if you're all curious who this man is, show up and you'll get to meet him.
You're going to have everyone going up to him and like, so you're the guy. He's going to be like, great. That's so funny.
He can handle it.
He can handle it. So I thought we would talk briefly about what does that mean to show up authentically on social media, right? Because so often, okay, let me just ask you a question. How many times have you gotten either seen someone selling their product on their newsfeed, or they send you a message asking you to post something for them for a product? Have you ever gotten one of those? Or you get the, oh gosh, it's awful. Or you get the, you just get the, like, you're friends with somebody on Facebook for a hot minute, and the next thing you know, you're getting a message from them and they're trying to sell you a product or a service, right? Whatever it is.
Those I've gotten.
Yeah, it's annoying, right? I mean, and this is the thing, like, it's annoying, but that's what they're like, you can't fault the person. So I'm just going to say that straight up. Like, don't give that actual person, like, get all annoyed and angry with them, because that's what they're told to do and that's what they're taught to do. And so what I really love, and that's part of what I do at Gold Digger Girls, we're really trying to change that whole dynamic and really attracting people to you. And that's what showing up authentically. Like, you need to be real. Social media was created to be social. It was created for people to communicate and to, I mean, look, I look back at when Facebook first started. I have reconnected with so many friends from high school and college that I otherwise would have no idea where they are. And not everybody loves that, but I am a social creature. I really love that. So it's really important, I think, to not show up like spammy Pamela on social media, because you don't want to turn people off. But it's learning how to do that the right way and how to really show up in an authentic way that's just drawing people to you, and they want to know more about what you do. So I just want to say that, please, if you're sending those spamula Pamela messages, please don't reach out to me and I can help you.
But I will say it's like so true that people really respond to, it's you that they want to know and you that they want to. So I had been very negligent. I had not sent out a newsletter for Body and Soul PT for a while. And I finally said, I think the last one I sent out was in December and we're in May. So it's like, it's time to get a newsletter out there. But the thing the more I share about my life and what I'm up to, the more response I get back.
Yeah.
If I'll post something like, I think I'm being good and like giving them information and education and that they're going to love it. They all could care freaking less. It's like, I told them I went to a wedding in Atlanta, someone's wedding that a lot of them know. And, well, some of them mistakenly thought that I got married.
Oh my, that's so funny.
No, that wasn't me. I did not get married. I do not have a husband. But it's amazing to me when I send out emails like that, like just talking about my personal life, people respond. If I send out an email that I think is being useful and helpful and giving them information that they will like to have,
you're like,
it's
yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that the interesting thing to me is that you, like, Julietta could be selling toothbrushes and Joe Schmo could be selling toothbrushes, and they could be exactly the same toothbrush, but I would buy them from Julietta because I know, like, and trust her. And that's really what it's all about, right? I mean, that's the basic of sales, know, like, and trust. Like, that's why people buy what they buy from who they buy it from. So that's one of the things I just really encourage. Like, if you have no clue what you're, if you are in a business and you're selling products or a service and you're just struggling and I don't know, how do I promote this on social media without coming across like spammy Pammy, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to help.
awesome.
So
are we ready to bring our guest on?
Yes, we are.
All right. Hi, Nancy.
Hello. Hi there. How are you?
We are great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So will you please take a couple minutes and introduce yourself to our audience and tell them about what you do?
Sure. Well, I help women who are over drinking change their relationship with alcohol. Wow. And awesome. I'm a life coach and an equus coach, which means I use horses as co-facilitators in my life coaching business. If my clients are in Colorado, or if they want to come see me in Colorado, it's kind of hard to do equus coaching over Zoom, but so I do virtual coaching like we're talking now, and also in person with horses. And
I love that. And I know as a physical therapist, there's a lot of equine assisted therapy out there in the world, but I also have a client. I think horses are beautiful, but I've not experienced them much in my life, and having them explain to me how, like, the horses just, they see straight who you are, and there is no getting around that. There's no hiding from a horse, and
that's right.
And they're going to mirror back to you what you present to them, and
exactly.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
to be able to use that tool and tap into.
It's fascinating, and I like to say that horses are magic, and I truly believe that. They just, they're great lie detectors, and they're so intuitive, and they help us, discover our truth. And it's just, it's magic.
Have you always been connected to horses, or is this something that came up?
No, this is new for me. My first experience with this type of work was in 2018, and had a couple of, 3 different experiences as a participant, and just knew that I had to learn how to do it so that I could offer it in my practice that was, just starting out. So I'm just thrilled to have the experience and to be able to offer it to my clients.
So my daughter did hippotherapy, which is physical therapy with horses she started when she was 3, actually.
Wow.
She's 22 now. And I'll tell you what, it was the best thing because she was in physical, speech, and occupational therapy. And it was the physical therapist that was at the center we were going to was starting this hippotherapy program. And she asked if I'd be interested. And I'm like, I'm willing to try it. And it absolutely was incredible for our daughter. It really did so many amazing things for her. It gave her, aside from the fact that it helped her from the therapy perspective, it just helped her, gave her confidence, gave her, the ability to know she could do things on her own, and that she could, she was this little peanut thing. She's only 5 feet tall now. She was this little peanut thing at 4 years old. She was cleaning out horses' hoofs. Like, she could handle a full-grown, full-size horse without even blinking an eye. Like, I'd be standing back all nervous, and she'd like walk right up, and so it's pretty incredible. And just the horses were so good with her because she was a whirling dervish when she was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for adults, I can imagine it's got to be incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I would have loved to have seen how the horses responded to her when she started as a whirling dervish, because it would be, it's very interesting to watch them work with that energy, right? And it's really captivating for me. It's just so fascinating. So
it definitely took a special horse. Like, there were only certain horses that could work with the kids because they were the energy that they, was very intense. The horses were extremely, and they were so calming. I think that was one of the best things. We would come home from her working with the horses, and her demeanor had so changed. She would be so calm. You know what I mean? Like, it was just really incredible. It was incredible to see. And she did that till she was 8 years old. So for 4 years, 4.5, 5 years, she did that. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into our questions, because we could probably sit here and talk about horses all afternoon long here.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Our first question for you, Nancy, is what is one book that you wish every goddess would read?
I think that I would probably have to say Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. I would venture to say that most of your audience has probably read it already, but it's just an outstanding book. And, it helped me understand the importance of being vulnerable, and it also clued me in on the impact that shame has had and continues to have on my life. I think it's a really important work, and I think it's a really important book.
Yeah. And creating that shift from, everybody views, not everybody, but generally vulnerability is viewed as a weakness, when truly it's an amazing strength if you can
Absolutely. It's an act of courage, and it's it takes guts to be vulnerable.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we love Brene Brown, and we've used her books in our book club, and so yeah.
Yep.
Good book.
Yeah.
Read it if you haven't. Our second question for you, Nancy, is because we feel it's really important for women to practice self-care. I mean, we're always caring for others, and we tend to forget to take care of ourselves. So what is your top self-care practice, and how does it support you?
Well, and I'm not really great at this, but the practice that's most helpful for me is meditation. It it helps me get centered and connected to myself and not worry so much about what's happening out there, and focus more on what's happening inside myself. And I sometimes I forget to meditate. Sometimes I don't take the time to meditate, but when I do, the benefit is enormous, and it makes me wonder, well, how is it that I don't do this religiously? And it's progress, not perfection, right? It's a practice.
And we are all about not being perfect, and I love that you say you're not perfect at it and you still do it, because especially, and I don't know what it is about meditation that people think that it has to be done a certain way, and that if you're not doing it a certain way, and you're not doing it consistently, and that it's not that you can't do it. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how often. You can do it one time and it's going to be beneficial to you.
Right.
And there's so many different ways of doing it. If you don't like that way, try a different way. The important thing is do it as often as you remember and can do it, and you will reap the results of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. We always think that we have to do something really, really well and all the time and every single day. And if we don't, then why bother? And it's like, no, just every day is a new day. Do your best.
Right.
Get what you can done. I'm a big journaler and meditator, and some days it's cut really short, and some days it doesn't happen, and I get right back to it the next day. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I love that.
And journaling is very, very beneficial as well. And here again, it's sometimes kind of hit and miss, but it is very beneficial when I give myself permission to do it.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. All right. So our next question for you is, so, we all have difficult days, but we still have to show up and get things done. So how do you rise up and get through your day when you're just kind of not feeling it?
It's a really good question. I do a lot of thought work and mindset work, and I work with my clients that way as well. So if I have a thought about something, then I try to be really aware of it. I really try to catch my thoughts when they're negative, and I can tell that they're sending me down the wrong path, and try to reframe it, because I know that our thoughts about our circumstances create our suffering or our enjoyment in life. It's not the circumstance, it's our thoughts about the circumstance. So if I can change the thought even just a little bit, it'll change my energetic vibration, it'll change my feelings and emotions. Even if it's just a little bit, it will help shift my mood, and it'll change me from wanting to, bite my husband's head off to, being very, I can be very grateful to have him around, right? And it doesn't, these are just little shifts that you make that can take you from being angry to being grateful. And it may not happen in one thought, but you can ladder them up. And so it's really important. And I don't, here again, I'm not perfect. I don't remember to do it all the time. This weekend, my husband kind of was walking around headless for a little while, because I snapped. And it was totally uncharacteristic and surprised me. And I work through it throughout the day, that, just catching those thoughts. And then I talked with someone and they said, well, it was full moon.
That it was. That's for sure.
So I'm also blaming it on the moon, but I digress.
That's my new go-to. It's a full moon, isn't it?
This was
Or
a crazy one
retrograde
too,
of some
because of the
sort.
eclipse.
Yeah, this was like an eclipse too, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, it really was, because we're in the middle of some retrograde, and with the full moon and the eclipse, it's just like, Katie barred the door. So
Gosh, we could go on a whole conversation about the moon. I just found a great new app called Moon Calendar. It's amazing.
ooh,
Yeah. You can put in your birth date and it gives you all the goods, and yeah.
nice.
I love it. I love that though. That comes up a lot when we ask the women that we interview that question. It's a lot about taking that time and really thinking, like you said, going through that thought process of really looking at how you're handling things. And It is mindset. It really is mindset. Like we always talk about, give yourself a chance to feel the feels and do what you need to do. And then let's figure out a way around that and move forward. So
right.
I love that you shared.
And sometimes you can do it quickly, and sometimes it gets pretty messy.
Yeah.
And for me, this weekend, it was pretty messy, but we got through it. He's still vertical, so.
That's good. That's so funny. How long have you been married?
Gosh, we got married in 2004 on our 7th anniversary. So we've been together for quite a while. And
yeah. Okay.
So,
okay. So probably about as long as I have. Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Our next question for you is, what is a life experience? And we know there's probably many, but what is a life experience that's really played a big role in forming who you are today?
Well, I think the biggest one, and I'm going to throw out a little trigger warning here for suicide, but I attempted suicide in 2009, and as a result of that, I quit drinking, and that has been the biggest change in my life. And so, it's unfortunate that it came to that in order to get me to realize that I had a real problem with alcohol. That could have ended my life. But I'm grateful for it, because if I hadn't gotten there, I surely would have, I can imagine that I would have been successful at a later date. It's just addiction and alcoholism is a messy, ugly thing that many people struggle with. Mm-hmm. And there's no, while it's ugly, there's really no shame involved in it. For anybody to consume great amounts of an addictive substance and not expect to get addicted is unrealistic. And so, for me, it's a judgment-free issue. And, one of my passions is to shatter the stigma of alcoholism and addiction.
Now, did you go through like AA and all of that to get?
I did. And AA saved my life. I mean, I don't know what I would have done without them, because I wasn't aware of any other option at the time. I think there are others that I wasn't aware of, and how I didn't know about them, I don't know. But one of the things I do know was that before I quit drinking, before I tried to kill myself, I knew I had a problem, but I wasn't ready to quit drinking, for God's sakes. And there was really nobody to talk to about it. All my friends were drinking pretty much the same way I was. So, they weren't going to be able to shed any light on the subject, right? And I didn't think there was anybody like me around that, works with people who are concerned about their drinking. And so that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is to help women, especially, take a look at their relationship with alcohol before they have to hit rock bottom, because it's easier to change your relationship if you're not, in a really horrible addictive cycle. If it's it's just, I was drinking addictively probably for a lot of years. It really developed into alcoholism the last couple of years. And it was because my father killed himself and I felt guilty about it. And so my thoughts created my incredible suffering for 2 years, until it ramped up to the point where I thought that I would, everyone would be better off without me.
Wow.
So you talk about mindset and what our thoughts can do to us. They can kill us. And alcohol is a very subtle foe, and it sneaks up on you, and it doesn't discriminate.
Well, I appreciate you being so vulnerable about that, because it's definitely an issue. Like, it's really interesting you're talking about this, because I'm like, I think that I probably should not drink as much. And I actually started listening to, have you heard Russell Brand's book, Recovery?
I haven't listened to it, but I'm aware of it, and I would like to. I love him. I think
I got it on Audible because I love his voice, and I think he's so funny, and really, it's so good. I'm like, and I was listening. I had a long car drive this past week, and I started listening to it on that. And I'm like, I'm gonna need to listen to this more than once, because he actually works you through like a lot of stuff, and he has his website has a lot of free information too, because he's a big proponent as well. And I think I'm really just think it's so important, because I know a lot of women, including myself, that drink way more than we should, because I don't know why. It's just become this like norm in our society now.
Well,
I'm not really sure when that happened.
And that's part of it. It
is. It's like
so culturally acceptable. And, one of the things that I've learned, and I read this somewhere, probably on Instagram or something in a meme, but alcohol is the only drug that we have to make excuses not to take.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, if you're not drinking at a party and people are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you drinking? Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you
Nobody
pregnant?
says, why aren't you shooting up heroin today?
I know.
Right?
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, but yes, it's true. It's very true.
It's serious. It really is. It's so, and alcohol is deadly. It can be so deadly. And so, but the alcohol companies are doing what big tobacco did, back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and, really trying to convince us that it's healthy to drink alcohol.
Right. The best is red wine is good for you.
Right.
And people like drink a whole bottle, including
Exactly.
I mean, I've been guilty. I've done it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but
look how good I'm taking care of my heart. Glug, glug, glug. Right. Been there.
I wish I could remember her name right now, but there's an author, and I got her book years ago, because I realized probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized, wow, I'm like drinking way too much. And I have cut back a lot, but I really just need to stop, period. And I'm getting there. Yeah, I will. I know. So, but there's a woman, and I wish I could remember her name. She's got a couple books out about recovery and alcoholism, especially for women. And the interesting thing in there is, if you really understood what alcohol actually is, you would be like, what the heck am I putting in my body? Exactly. Like, holy cow. I mean, it's
rocket fuel.
It's made from freaking rocket fuel. It's like crazy.
It really is. It's ethanol.
It is ethanol.
So it's so funny, because everybody's worried about gluten and sugar and, yada, yada. And nobody's concerned about drinking rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And so, when you look at it and then you see how it's marketed to you, and especially, the generation that really gets it are the young mothers. You've got your mommy wine and your mommy sippy cup, and, the onesies that say, if you had me, you drink too, and all sorts of stuff. And so we're hammered with it. And it's just, we can't help but drink, and certainly you're never going to be able to celebrate anything unless you have a glass of champagne in your hand.
Right.
And it's no wonder that women are the highest demographic of over drinkers. Alcoholism in women is growing at a alarmingly rapid rate. And and it has so many bad effects on us. Even if you drink moderately, it shrinks your brain size. So
well, I am happy to see, I don't know if you're on social media much, but like on Instagram, I've even seen them on Facebook. There are these new, like I tried one, it's called Moment, like Moment, and it's basically geared towards, instead of wine, drink this. And it's truly, I got it. It's actually very good. And it's got ashwagandha in it. And it's got all these natural herbs that are calming and relaxing. It's got lavender in it, like all these different things that are good for you, like really good for you, and can help give you that kind of calm, relaxing. Because let's be real, most moms are drinking because they're stressed out, right? I mean, I was there. Yeah, I mean, I was there.
Sure.
I should have had that onesie. If you had me, you'd be drinking too. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, good for you for doing what you're doing. I really, really want to give you kudos because you are making an impact just by talking with us and being here on this show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And
that's what I was going to say. Thank you for being so open, because it is something that people tend to hide and keep secret, and that doesn't serve anybody. So getting it out there, it's.
Yeah. The stigma of it kept me drunk for a long time, long time, because I wasn't ready to quit, like I said. And so what do? Well, you keep drinking. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so
it's that thing of having to go out to dinner or go somewhere and be like, no, I'm not drinking tonight, and everybody else is drinking, right? Like that's what happens. That's
And then you say, oh, all right, and you get in, and then and so it's difficult, but there's no shame involved, and if people are shaming you for taking care of yourself and not drinking, then
they're not your people.
They're really not your people. So, yeah.
So we are over time. So let's wrap, but I did not want to stop that conversation because it's really important. And I think it's really good to have, but to wrap things up, if there's one thing that you want our audience to take away from our time together today, what would that be?
Oh gosh. Well, if you're suffering with over drinking, there's help. There's, me, there's people like me, there's, organizations, 12-step programs, other programs. There's a way to change your relationship with alcohol. And it doesn't always have to be, you've got to quit. It just, that certainly is the best way, right? To eliminate it, then there's not that problem. But, take a chance on yourself and change your life.
I really like how you say the over drinking, because I think so many people think, oh, I don't have a problem because I'm
not an alcoholic.
There you go. That's what I was looking at. I'm not an alcoholic, but the reality is that most people I know overdrink, including me. I do it too. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm hanging out with a girlfriend or
yeah.
You're pointing a finger at me.
Who, me?
Oh. Anyway.
Yeah. That was me. Life of the party.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing so openly with our audience. I know for sure people needed to hear what you had to say today. So thank you so much for being here and sharing with us today, Nancy.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
And thank you to our sponsors, Bowtie Kids. Like I said, I would really love to see you all at the event on May 26th. So get your tickets, join me there. And if you're not local, you can still support them. It's a great organization. Like we've said before, so many people don't understand that there's so many kids out there suffering with chronic pain, and they don't get the attention and support that they need. So this organization is doing really special, amazing things. And thank you to our audience. We love you. We wouldn't be here without you. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please subscribe, follow, like, share. All of that helps us as well. And if you'd like to get in touch with Nancy, Allison, or myself, check the show notes. All of our contact information and everything is available there. And with that, I want to say, have a magical day, everyone.